Good morning. This is Robert Merchant, CCI Investments. We're doing another little podcast today. It'll be a little short one so we don't bore everybody. We do these every Monday. We have a podcast called Mobile Home Park Monday. Today I'm going to have Rachel, my Vice President of Acquisitions, Kristen, Vice President of Operations, and I have a special guest today, Mark Crawford, one of our investors, and we're going to talk about a subject today called park-owned homes versus tenant-owned homes. So we're going to get started here. Mark, I'd like to, before I start this, ask you a question. What do you think about park-owned homes versus tenant-owned homes?
Well, Robert, from my time working with you, I like I like park-owned homes better than tenant-owned homes. As an owner, as a manager of a park, as to me, you just make more money. Simple as
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. So that's what I want to talk about today. I don't want to mislead anybody that park-owned homes are easier than tenant-owned homes, because they absolutely are not. Park-owned homes are harder than tenant-owned homes, but you make more money if you do it right. You got to understand, if you do it right. If you don't inspect your homes and you don't stay on top of things, then you don't want to have park-owned homes, because it costs a lot more to take care of them, especially if you don't inspect them and somebody lives there for 2 years, tears it up, and then you got to go in and fix it. Of course, it's going to cost a ton of money. But if you inspect them on a regular basis, then you don't have that much expense. We estimate that it costs us about $1,000 a year extra money. Now, I don't mean that's what it costs to own a park-owned home and everything. I'm talking about extra money. So in other words, if I have a 50-space park, I already have to have a manager and mow the grass and trim the trees and fix water line breaks and sewer line breaks and have taxes and insurance and all that stuff. That's if I don't own the homes. If I do own the homes, my added expense should be around $1,000 a year per home if you own that many homes. Now, if you only own 2 or 3 homes, it is not even worth it, because it's hard unless your manager knows how to keep them fixed. But as a general rule, you have to have 15, 20 park-owned homes in order to make the formula work. So what we do, the way we figure in our analysis, is that we take $100 a month from the rent. If we're getting $800 a month, take $100 of that off and figure that's our extra cost for owning that home. That gives us $1,200 a year instead of $1,000, which gives us a 20% buffer. So that's the way we figure it. We figure if we're renting for $800 a month, we have to take $100 a month off for extra money to take care of that home. Like I said, you're already paying everything else, manager, collecting the rent. If you have a manager, whether she collects $400 a month or $800 a month, it's the same pay for her to collect the money. Okay. Also, as far as park-owned homes go, one of the reasons I like them is it's a lot easier to evict somebody if you own the home than it is to evict somebody if they own the home. And that's generally true across the United States. Mark has a park in Louisiana, and we have 3 homes in there that's owned by a guy that was owned them before we bought the park. They're paying no rent, and we're just right now trying to evict him. It's difficult. Mark, where are we? Where are we at in that process?
We're
Or
still trying
Kristen,
to
where are
figure
we at in
out
that
how
process?
to, yeah, we're still trying to figure out how to get those trailers back from him. He's been evicted from the park, but he still owns them, and so we can't go in and touch them yet because they're not our property.
But we're working on it. We have to get a lawyer. A lawyer's having to do that, and it's very slow. It's a slow process to do that. I know in some states, if you have a mobile home park and somebody owns the home and you go to evict them, the judge will not let you evict them from the home. They will let you move the trailer. You have to pay somebody to move the home. I have that situation in a park in Georgia. Now, we have quite a few parks in Georgia. That is not the law. The law does not say that I have to move that trailer. The law says that the tenant can be evicted and then they have so many days to move their home, or we can file an abandonment on it. But it does not matter what the law says in the computer. What matters is what the local judge says. And the local judge says in that town that I don't care, I'm the judge. If you evict that tenant, you got to pay to move the home. Now, I don't have any problems in that park because when he told me that, when we first bought it, I just went out and got a mover, said go over there and take the three nicest homes and pull them out of there. And he did. And he charged them for their move and the part. He charged them for storage, so they had to pay him to move them over there. They had to pay the storage. They had to pay my fee for evicting them, and then they had to pay all their back fees before they could move the trailer back in. And I haven't had any more problems with anybody paying their rent there because they know I will do that if I have to, but I don't want to have to. That's why I'd rather own the home. But I'll tell you, I just want to make sure to explain this formula here. If you own a park and it's a small park, say 20 lots, and you don't own the homes, even if you're getting $400 a month for space rent, and that's a lot of rent. Most of your space rent across the United States average 250, 275, maybe 300. But if you're in a park and you own 20 homes, you have 20 homes, and the tenants own the homes, you're getting $400 a month. You're going to make $8,000 a month. Okay. Now, if you are getting 400 for space rent, if that's an area you can get that in, you're going to get a minimum of 800, but usually it's about 900 to 1,000 for rent. But let's just say it's 800. This is how you can figure how much more money you're going to make. You're going to rent them out for $800 a month. 2 times 8 is 16. So you're going to make 16,000 a month, or you're going to make 8,000 a month. If you make 8,000 a month, your expenses are still going to be minimum 30% in a small park like that. So you're going to make 70% of $8,000, which is $5,600. If you own the homes, you're going to make 16,000. Going to cost you 40%. So you're going to make 60% of 18 of $16,000. I don't have my. Can somebody tell me how much money that is?
10,800.
So you're going to make 5,600 or 10,800. Well, obviously, you're going to make $5,000 a month more,
Yeah.
which is $60,000 a year. So I know that your park's going to be worth more money if you get ready to sell it. Even if you sell it to one of these guys that likes to go in and sell the homes to the tenants and carry the notes, so they don't have to do maintenance and all that stuff, you're still going to get more money for it because they're going to have that plan to go in there and sell the homes to the tenant. If you sell the homes to the tenants and then try to sell your park, everybody's going to do what I do and what all the investors do. We're not going to give you the amount of notes that you're owed. We're going to give you about half of the amount of money that notes that you're owed. You're still not going to get as much money for your park. So I really believe that you make more money if you own the homes, especially if you have a small park. It's really hard to make any money in a 20 space mobile home park because your rents, and usually you don't get $400 a month, you get more like $300 a month. So you're going to make 2 times 3, $6,000 a month. Or even if you don't get but 700, you're going to make 14,000 a month. So it just, the numbers don't lie. The numbers are there. if any of you guys out there want to talk to me about park-owned homes and how we do it, Kristen, can you give just a sample of what we do for park-owned homes, how we make sure that they're taken care of, the inspections and those kind of things, quarterly inspections, and how we do those?
You're on mute, Kristen.
Sorry. So we have a schedule to have every park-owned unit inspected by the manager every quarter. The inspection includes things like looking for water leaks, looking under the cabinets in the kitchen, looking under the trailer with the water running to make sure nothing's running onto the ground, changing the air conditioner filter, changing the batteries in the smoke detector if it's needed. So that really just encourages the tenants to take care of their home. The manager takes pictures while they're doing these inspections if they do see any kind of damage from the tenant, and then turns that into us, and we from there decide whether or not that's worth just a discussion or taking further action against the tenant. We're also looking for pets that are unauthorized, using the bathroom in the unit that can cause a lot of damage to your floors. So doing those inspections is really the key to keeping the park-owned units in good shape. The manager is also more inclined to do the inspections and pay attention to what the tenants are doing to the home if the manager is the one responsible for fixing them after the tenants leave. So this just is more, it's a cycle where the manager feels some responsibility for doing their job and keeping these tenants in line. And then the tenants know we're coming, so they're more inclined to take care of their home and report any maintenance issues that they have.
Absolutely. So that is why it works good. If you have your manager, the manager knows that if a tenant moves out, him and the maintenance man are going to be responsible for getting the home fixed and cleaned and ready to rent again. He knows if he does those inspections, or she, whoever the manager is, he, she, whoever does those inspections, know that if they do the inspections regularly, then number one, they won't have as many tenant calls to do because they'll be right on top of it. They'll see what happens every time they inspect it. Whatever little thing is wrong, we fix it before it becomes a big thing. And when you are going to have turnover, you're going to have more turnover in a park-owned home than you do a tenant-owned home. But if that person moves out and you can have it rented within a week, then you don't really lose a lot of rent. So that is one of the main reasons we inspect them. We have a quarterly inspection report, and we inspect. If we got 90 homes, we inspect 30 this month, 30 the next month, and 30 the next month. If we have a tenant that is not taking care of the home, then we put them on the every month inspection until such time, as like Kristen said, we decide if we're going to keep the tenant or we're going to remove the tenant from the home. It just makes it a lot easier for us. And that's why I'm a real advocate of owning the park-owned homes. I know if I've got a 100-space mobile home park and I can rent homes for $800 a month, I'm going to make $80,000 a month. If I don't, I'm going to make, say, $400 a month rent. I make $40,000 a month. And so you can just figure that for yourself, how much more money that park is worth. And even if you don't, even if you're going to sell it, it's worth more money. But most of my customers like to keep them because when they start seeing that cash flow come in, they have no reason to sell. So anyways, this was our first podcast about park-owned homes versus tenant-owned homes. Tenant-owned homes are easier. Park-owned homes make more money if you do it right. The secret is you got to do it right. Thank you, folks, and we will have another podcast here on the following Monday. If you want to get in touch with me, you can call me at 209-996-4075. You can also check out our website, mobilehomeparkconsultants.com. Thank you very much.